This week, on another stuck-at-home edition of Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen, we'll look at a new film starring Ben Affleck as an alcoholic basketball coach looking for redemption. The new indie drama Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always about an unwanted teen pregnancy, and a new mystery thriller set in Maine called Blow the Man Down. Plus, the TV miniseries Unorthodox set amongst Williamsburg Hasidic community. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. I'm Neil Rosen. Welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critic Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Like last month, we know the movie theaters are still closed because of the pandemic and you're stuck at home and probably craving some entertainment. So along with my panel, who are also all streaming from home, we have plenty of movies and TV series for you to binge watch. Joining me are Bill McCuddy from Gold Derby. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Neil. Sadly, this is just tea.
Lisa Rosman from Signs and Sirens. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Neil. Thank you for another opportunity to wear lipstick.
Glad to be of service. And a welcome return to longtime panelist and friend of the show, Perri Nemiroff. Glad to have you back from Collider. Hi, Perri.
So happy to be back. If you say my cat's names 5 times, he might appear. Who knows?
What's the cat's name?
Dewey, as in Deputy Dewey from Scream.
Okay, we're going to keep that in mind. Anyway, let's start out with a look at several new films that are available on demand or streaming, beginning with a new Ben Affleck film called The Way Back. Let's take a look at a clip.
All right, let's go. Move. What did we discover last night at Baptist?
That defense creates offense. We have to maintain pressure for all 4 quarters.
Right. Discovered that we're a pressing team. We don't take any plays off. We don't let them breathe. As soon as they get over half court, we trap.
Even if the ball's in the middle of the court?
Anywhere and everywhere.
You can't trap if the ball's in the middle of the floor. You need the sideline.
Who says? We can do whatever we want. Get up! There you go. There you go. Stay with him. Pressure. Don't let him breathe. There you go. Come around. Stay on it. Oh, no!
Bill, tell us about The Way Back.
Well, I'm excited about this film because I think it's one of the best things Ben Affleck has ever done. And I know that's a big statement, but this is kind of, as he's been telling us on talk shows before all this happened, a little bit of his own life. It's about an alcoholic who's a former high school phenom, and then he's brought back to his high school years later to coach that same team. What I like about this film is that, first of all, Affleck is amazing, but secondly, it doesn't have all of the cliches and tropes that most of the high school kinds of films do. The standard kids aren't here that you'd seen in so many of the other basketball movies. And it's done sort of soberingly, I should say, straightforward, or ironically, I should say. This shoots and scores, and I only wish that it had come out when he could maybe get some Oscar attention.
Lisa.
You know what? I'm surprised by how much I like this film. It's a stunning depiction of how pain can pave the way for addiction. And I was really surprised and gratified by how authentic and unshowy the writing was. And honestly, how unshowy Affleck's performance was. I mean, obviously, this is very meta for him. This is also a comeback for him. And he pulled it off beautifully with a lot of nuance.
Perri.
I actually found it a little too straightforward and formulaic, particularly in the first half of the movie where I thought I saw everything that was coming. But again, you said it, Lisa. Ben Affleck's performance is phenomenal here, and it gives the movie all the heart it needs to actually stick the landing. And the one unique thing that I thought really worked well for me is that this is a movie that doesn't make this an easy journey for his character. There's no quick fix. This is something that sticks with him. Every single ounce of his experience amounts to who he is at the end of the movie.
As you all said, Ben Affleck's performance is quite good here. I think it elevates the material. As you said, Perri, it is formulaic. It reminded me of dozens of other sports movies. Hoosiers is the one that leaps to mind. And I saw all the moves coming. And again, as you said, Lisa, Ben Affleck's character, in real life, Ben Affleck is an alcoholic. So, it wasn't much of a stretch for him to play this particular part. And I like Ben Affleck's performance. Listen, there's a shortage of sports on television. I'd say I recommend it on that level. At least you can get to see some a parochial high school basketball team come from a bunch of losers to be kind of brought back by Affleck's character. It's okay. It's just not great. All right, let's move on to another movie called Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Lisa, that's a mouthful of a title. Go ahead, tell us about it.
Mouthful of a title, but I think it's probably the most obtrusive thing about this film. It's a really quiet indie, and honestly, it's one of my favorite films of the year so far. And the fact that it's not an easy film may be one of the best things about it, even though right now it's a really difficult time to watch anything challenging.
It's about this 17-year-old low-income pregnant teen in rural Pennsylvania who has to go all the way to New York with just her best friend in order to get an abortion.
That may sound like a message movie, but trust me, this is not a preachy or aggressive film. It's got really naturalistic writing and direction by Eliza Hittman, heartbreaking acting, especially from the central character who's played by first-time performer Sydney Flanagan. And it packs this really big punch by just subtly drawing a picture of all of the macro and microaggressions that the girl has to undergo to assert control over her own body, even though it's legally allowed. I mean, right now we are all acutely aware of the failures of the healthcare system in America. But this film reminds us that things weren't easy before.
Perri?
This film is phenomenal. Hands down, one of the best things I saw at Sundance this year. Those two lead performances are something else. And one of the major things I really appreciated about this is, like you said, Lisa, it's not preachy, but I think it's because it's so personal. It's so strictly about her experience, her journey, and it's done with such sensitivity that it feels so natural and real. And as far as that title goes, I will tell you, I interviewed them at Sundance, had such a hard time before seeing the movie, getting that title out. Then when I saw the movie and I saw that scene that drills it into your head, you will never, ever forget it. And that's only one scene of so many super powerful ones.
Amen. I so agree with you about that.
Yeah.
I can't believe Lisa and I and Perri both agree so emphatically with me, because this is maybe the best movie I've seen so far this year. And then I would echo everything else everyone said. So I'm just going to make a new point, which is I was so happy that it didn't do any of the New York City cliches. There wasn't the guy that was trying to rob her. There wasn't all the stereotypical stuff that happens in so many New York movies. I was so proud to be a New Yorker as I watched this film. And so that's a sidebar. I think that when the independent spirits roll around, this is going to be a big, big winner, and it deserves it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm sorry to disagree with you guys, but look, there's no question the performances are quite good. I didn't really know these actresses beforehand. They're terrific. I think that the movie is well-intentioned, but the problem for me is that the writer-director here is choosing message over story. Listen, nothing really much happens in the movie. We watched 20 minutes of them sitting all night in the Port Authority, another 30 minutes of the movie where they're in an overnight arcade in New York City. It's tedious. I watched it with my wife. My daughter knows the film. We all agreed it's a tedious movie.
Okay, I have two things to say to this. Number one is I'm so done with male critics attacking a feminist film by acting like the women in their life don't like it. Like that's an excuse, A. And B, it's like it wasn't the same frickin' movie. It's like you literally did not see the same film as the rest of us.
Can I finish
the whole point? Oh my God.
Can I finish my point?
No, that I don't think you deserve to. My
Well, I'm
God.
going to finish
Maybe
my
you'd like your wife to come and finish it, Neil.
Yeah, maybe your wife should do the review, buddy.
All right, I'm going to finish my point here, okay? First of all, I got some technical problems with the film also. They're lugging around a giant suitcase and a backpack all throughout New York for 2 days. They were only intending on staying in New York for a couple of hours, so I don't know what device that particular piece was put into the movie for whatever reason. Also, there's a really kind social worker in New York who says, listen, if you don't have a place to stay, we'll put you up. And she turns that down for some reason. Instead, she's choosing to just like hang out on the streets of New York. If they were going to put her in a shelter, that was never mentioned in the film. Listen,
Yeah, those sound like horrible reasons not to watch the movie.
Super petty.
I'm bored with the movie. It's a well-intentioned movie. I understand the message is very important. I was bored with the execution of the film. All right, let's.
I'm going to quote you at the end of the
Bill,
year.
hold up your sign. Hold up your sign, Bill.
I did
Calm
already.
down.
Bill, we need your sign. That's right.
All right, I'm going to move on here. I'm going to talk about a movie called Blow the Man Down. A pair of sisters in a small fishing town in Maine are left with a ton of debt after their mother dies. One of the sisters, Morgan, after a drunken night at a local bar, runs into a dangerous creep who she winds up killing in self-defense. Along with her sister, they cover up the crime by cutting up the body and dumping him at sea. But when the body of another person washes up on shore, lots of secrets in the town come to light.
Not many after that description.
The town is run by a group of ladies who include actress June Swift, plus the great Margot Martindale, who you probably remember from The Americans, plays the town madam, who's also holding a bunch of secrets of her own. The movie has the tone of a Coen Brothers film and has sort of a Fargo feel to it, but not quite as good. I like the performances. There's a good story, although at times it's a bit convoluted, but a real treat is a group of amazing singing fishermen who serve as a Greek chorus throughout the movie, doing exquisite sea shanties, which I really like. This is worth a look on Amazon Prime. Bill, since you interrupted my
well, I mean, you gave a few things away. All I'm saying is you gave a few things away that I might not have. I like the Greek chorus. I think the performances are all excellent. I do kind of recommend it, but with a pat. I mean, we've got a lot of time to kill, and so this is one thing that could fill it.
Perri?
I definitely recommend this one. I thought it was so refreshing. I haven't seen something quite like this, and I can't even remember when. Yeah, the performances are great, but the thing I was most impressed by is just the overall style, especially the fact that this is a first feature for the directors. I mean, what a phenomenally confident sense of style they have for something like this. That's why it works.
Lisa?
I'm a sucker for regional noir. I'm a New Englander, so I was inclined to the film, but I think it deserves it. It's so beautifully stylized, and it's such a sly feminist parable on top of it.
Yes, recommended by us all. Okay, moving on. Perri, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, I was so excited to share this movie with you guys. I'm talking about Sea Fever. So this is a movie about a young student who needs to go out on a fishing trawler in order to get her doctorate. So they go out on the boat, and this trawler needs to get a really big catch. So they go into a dangerous area of water, and something latches onto their ship. And that something seeps into their ship and has a major effect on the entire crew. I was blown away by this movie back at TIFF 2019. You guys know me at this point. I love genre and I love a good creature feature, but the thing that impressed me the most about this particular movie is it is an exhilarating, creepy watch, but it's also an exhilarating, creepy watch with purpose. And I had a lot of things on my mind back when I saw it in September, but especially given the current situation and the importance of social distancing, it was so well worth another watch.
Well, anybody that watches this show and has seen you, we know how much you love horror films, Perri. So this is a perfect pick for you, but it really makes it perfect because of what you just said, is the fact that they all have this virus on this ship and they have to quarantine themselves. So you picked a very timely thing. As far as the movie itself goes, you know, I'm not a big horror movie fan. Again, I've seen a lot of this stuff before, but it's certainly a timely film, and that's what makes it work in that regard. Lisa?
Well, it is oddly timely. I mean, I was really struck by that when I was watching it. And I really do love that it's a female protagonist in an action film, which just still doesn't happen often enough. But in all honesty, I felt oddly distant from it. I admire the way the film is made, but as a result, the stakes never really grab you.
Bill, close out this movie.
Well, where's Dougray Scott been? I mean, I haven't seen him like in 10 years. He's the captain on board the ship. Connie Nielsen's his wife. They give two really solid performances as the people who have a lot at stake here in this boat. Yes, it's very topical and very timely, and I think I liked it a little more than Lisa. And I'm going to recommend it. When you look at the trailer and you think it's like got a lot of booze and big scares and stuff, it's not that kind of movie at all. It works at a different level, and I think it works well.
There's some great TV series that are streaming right now to binge watch. We're going to tell you about a few, starting with Unorthodox. Here's a clip.
Ich bin anders wie die anderen Mädchen.
Anders ist gut.
Where I come from, there are many rules.
Und sie ist da eine heilige Pflicht, sie mit keinem anderen Ruf nach Hashem.
My family just cares that I'm a good wife and mother.
Und sie müssen mir aufbauen, stimmt. Sie gefällt dir zu nicht.
I had to get as far as possible for my community.
So Unorthodox follows the story of Esty, a 19-year-old woman who lives in an insular, ultra-Orthodox Hasidic community in Williamsburg. She's in an arranged marriage, has very little rights as a woman, and every aspect of her life is controlled. She's unhappy, longs for freedom, and decides to escape to Berlin. It's a 4-hour miniseries that looks at both her restricted life in Brooklyn and her trying to adjust to her newfound freedoms in Germany. Turns into a pseudo-thriller. It's in Yiddish with English subtitles, and the cast are all great, specifically Israeli actress Shira Haas as Esty, who's really superb. Lisa.
Well, I read the 2012 memoir that this is based on with great interest, but seeing what she's talking about is other level. It's actually harrowing for any woman who prizes her independence. But I feel like the series makes its case so diligently and diplomatically that it's not hard to bear. It's just a lot of amazing information. And it's also shot really well. It's very atmospheric looking.
Perri.
Netflix is crushing it in a lot of departments.
Crushing it.
This might be one of the best, though. And I just really appreciated the fact that it didn't label anything as right or wrong. It made it a very personal experience for Esty, and you experience everything through her shoes and what she needs as an individual. And I think that is going to make it powerful for a very wide audience.
Bill?
I also like that it was 4 hours in length instead of, listen, we're at a time where anything can be 8 or 12, or obviously the material was there, I'm guessing, in the book to make it longer. This is tight. It's a nail biter, and it's really excellent.
Yeah, it really, really is. All right, Perri, you're going to tell us about something kind of different and off the mark. So go ahead.
Oh, boy. Welcome to Quibi, a brand new streaming platform that is designed specifically for mobile streaming. So you need the app on your iPad or your phone, and that's how you can watch their content, all of which is shot for vertical or horizontal viewing. It is absolutely fascinating. And the two options that you have there are short form TV type of material. So they're 6 to 10 minute episodes, or instead of a TV show, you could also get a movie in chapters. And it's basically a full feature length film chopped up into chapters.
I have Quibi already. It's called Netflix, and I just watch 10 minutes of a movie I like. I stop. When I come back to Netflix, I watch the next 10 minutes. This whole concept was invented before the pandemic, and we don't want to watch stuff on our phones right now. Everything we're watching is on our TV or on our computer. So going down, I'm voting no on Quibi.
I think you know how we always joke, but it does pain me to agree with Bill. I mean, I think I can see how engrossing A Dangerous Game was, actually. I watched a little bit of it, but I just think it's tragic how bad the timing is for this. Like, this is built for people who are on the run, who are watching things in 3 minutes between meetings or whatever, and none of us have crazy jam-packed schedules anymore. So what we are desperate for is long, sprawling things that draw us in. I mean, there's a reason that The Wire, which has been in dormancy for like 10 years, basically, is coming back, because we have the attention span that we didn't normally have. This sadly could not be worse timed.
Right now, exactly what you said, Lisa and Bill. We want to look at long form programming. I'm like, oh, great, a 20-hour miniseries. That's good. I'm happy. The 10-minute thing, maybe when the world gets back to normal, this will work, but I don't think it works right now. Lisa, tell us about a TV series that you want to tell people about that they'd like.
Okay, Better Things. I mean, admittedly, this FX series, which stars the showrunner, Pamela Alden's is already wrapping up its 4th season, so it's not new news, but it's so good and it's so subtle that it doesn't always get the attention and the raves that it deserves. Basically, it's about Pamela, right? It's about a middle-aged LA actor who's a single mom of 3 with an increasingly needy and narcissistic aging mother. But the big surprise here, and the reason I keep on going back, is how deeply compassionate and clever and avant-garde it is. Instead, every episode feels like a Valentine to just how beautiful and bittersweet ordinary life really is.
Perri?
I watched the first 2 episodes because we were talking about it today and instantly hooked. I loved it. She is phenomenal in it. Right? Obviously, I don't really know how good she's going to be as it goes on, because I know there's a number of seasons for this, but
honey, it gets better.
It's like within minutes of seeing her on screen in this role with that kind of tone and that strut that she has, I'm like, you are just pitch perfect in this, and I need to see everything you go through with your family.
All right, Bill, what do you got?
Well, I think we've saved the best for last, because if there was ever a reason to sit at home, and I'm thanking the pandemic for this, it's a Spanish 2017 series called Money Heist that had 2 seasons plus 4 bonus that I can't tell you the plot of, or I'll give away why they had to do 4 more. But it's basically about a ragtag bunch of people who break into Madrid's mint, and you think it's going to be a smash and grab, that they're going to be gone in 30 minutes. Instead, they're there for over 100 days, and there's a specific reason for that. It's all put together by a guy who just calls himself the Professor. And imagine a Spanish soap opera mashed up with a heist film. It's crazy. What I love about it is, for everything it does wrong, it does 2 things right, or smart. It's a load of fun. I highly suggest it. It gets huge ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, and now I see why. Money Heist, don't miss it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the characters are terrific. I think that guy who plays the professor, whose name escapes me, is terrific. And who would think that you could sustain this story for several seasons, but they actually do, and it keeps hooking me in with each subsequent episode. Highly recommended. That was a clip from the Aretha Franklin documentary, Amazing Grace. It's Lisa Rosman's personal choice as we go around the panel with our critics' picks of the month. Lisa.
Okay, listen, even if you are not a huge fan of Aretha Franklin, you are actually going to be wowed of this documentary of her live recording of the Amazing Grace album in 1972 in Watts, California. This was basically Aretha, who inarguably, in my opinion, is the queen of soul, was at the height of her musical powers. And it was really during a crucial moment in the civil rights movement, which she and her dad were always active in. If you are like me, a lifelong Aretha obsessive, then you will lose your mind over this documentary. Sidney Pollack actually shot the original footage, although it wasn't shaped and released until 2018. Also, watch for an ecstatic Mick Jagger grooving in a corner at one point. It's amazing.
What a gift to be able to see this incredible performance, which we have not been able to see for like 40 some odd years. Yeah. And man, when she hits those high notes, I mean, she doesn't do a lot of talking in between the songs, but who needs to? I mean, that music and that voice just speaks for itself. This is, I know, it's an uplifting, tremendous document and moving. I love this pick. Bill, what's your critics' pick this month?
I picked a great doc called By Sidney Lumet that PBS American Masters did, a woman named Nancy Bursky. The reason I picked it is not because it's a great documentary, it is, but also it reminds us in the pandemic of other movies that Sidney Lumet made that we might want to go watch, like Network. He talks about his whole career here. Serpico, Prince of the City, The Verdict, Dog Day Afternoon. Neil, I know that's a favorite of yours.
I love Dog Day Afternoon.
Favorite of mine. The Anderson tapes actually has a bunch of shots on Fifth Avenue with no people. There are so many great moments about New York in all of his films, or most all of his films. We'll forgive him for The Wiz, that it becomes a primer, this thing, all the way back to 12 Angry Men. I highly recommend By Sidney Lumet.
I think it's great too, and having been a fan of almost all of those films, I mean, you know, which I learned was he was a child actor. And he kind of that helped him working with actors, but his movies, so he's the quintessential New York director. And to hear him talk about all those movies that I love in his own words, it's just great. And I know you guys are, Lisa and Perri,
I'm dying to see this movie. I'm dying. Because what I love about Lumet is he always defers to the storytelling. And more than that, he lets the characters themselves move the story along through all of his direction. I cannot wait to see this. Also, you know what I love by him? Death Trap, which almost no one's seen, but is awesome.
The Lumet movie that I find myself watching the most often is definitely Network. And every single time I watch it, I have another reason to be freaked out by it. And especially right now with what's going on, watching that movie made me lose sleep at night.
Hey, I worked at Fox News and that movie predicted it.
Yeah, talk about decades ahead of its time, that movie, which is more relevant now than it's ever been. All right, Perri, what's your pick this month?
Oh, I am so excited about this. My pick is my latest binge watch, which was Sex Education on Netflix. 2 seasons available, 1 more on the way that I've heard of. But it's largely about a kid named Otis Milburn, played by Asa Butterfield. And his mom is a sex therapist, played incredibly by Gillian Anderson, but what he winds up doing at school is he starts to give out sex therapy to his peers for money. So that's the basic premise of the show, but the reason why I fell in love so hard with Sex Education is because it's got something for everybody. This is probably one of the most impressive series as far as making the most of its entire ensemble. Whether you're talking about a lead character like Otis or someone you meet early on that you think is just, I don't know, there for decoration, everybody gets an arc. And don't judge this show by the title and its poster. Yes, it's young adult oriented, but this show has something for everyone.
I'm with you. Very, very good pick.
How did the British get everything right except dental care?
Well, my pick dovetails with Lisa's Aretha Franklin doc. It's called Standing in the Shadows of Motown. Now, I'm a big fan of Motown music from the 1960s and 70s, and this fascinating documentary looks at the Funk Brothers. Who are the Funk Brothers? They're this brilliantly talented house band who played the music on all the songs made famous by the Supremes and the Temptations and the Four Tops, Marvin Gaye, and on and on. And they were an amazing group of anonymous musicians who never really got the credit they were due. They played on more #1 hits than the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, and Elvis combined, which makes them the greatest hit machine in the history of popular music. And this doc reunites them years later to tell their unforgettable story. And what a story it is they tell you the process of how they created dozens of iconic songs. They reunite for a concert where they play such hits as Ain't No Mountain High Enough and What Becomes of the Broken Hearted. It's one of the greatest music documentaries ever made. Lisa, I see you shaking your head.
I love it. I love it. I think this movie actually crossed paths in some ways with 20 Feet from Stardom about female backup singers. And I love all these movies, not just because of the music, but because we need to know as much as we can about that moment in history before these people pass on. Like, it was an unbelievable moment in musical history.
The Wrecking Crew is another terrific one that's also up there. I highly recommend that. These backstories are fascinating. And what's great about this time period is that if you have anybody that you've loved in music, you should go see a doc about them because it's probably there, either on Netflix or Amazon or somewhere.
Well, that's about all the time we have. With any luck, we've given you some movies and TV shows to watch to help pass the time in this time of crisis. I want to thank Lisa Rosman.
It was so good to see you, kittens. And you know I'm bored if I'm saying that.
Bill McCuddy.
Neil, I'm proud of you. I didn't have to use this very often.
And Perri Nemiroff. Thanks for returning.
Thanks for having me back. And Dewey enjoyed the show quite a bit. He looks thrilled, right?
There you go. Anyway, stay well, be safe. I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time on Talking Pictures.